All right. In three, two, one. All right, guys. Welcome to another podcast. Today, I have the main man. I saw your video last week, actually, which is pretty interesting. We got Peter from Broke the Habit.
What's up? What's up?
It's funny how how we met. Actually, we actually talked about this in your podcast, and he has a podcast on his channel as well. I'll leave the link down below. So the way we met was he had a video. Like I was searching up for Vancouver YouTubers when I first started doing YouTube, like back I think 2017, and I was like Vancouver YouTubers, and I saw his videos. Right, he had like vlogs. I was like, oh wow, this guy's actually a legitimate YouTuber. Like he actually makes YouTube content. So I commented, I think, in one of his videos, and I think yeah, and I subscribed too. Then you mentioned that I sent you a DM on Twitter. It's very interesting. I normally don't, but it's interesting that I did that. And then after like what 3 years or something like that, I think 2020, like I think you reached out. I think we reached out, and then we just had a quick chat, and then we kind of went from there. Then yeah, it's pretty funny. I've been following your stuff. Your content's actually really dope. Uh, but for those in the audience who don't know, like, could you give maybe a quick intro as to what you do? The content creation, and
hmm
yeah, just give us a quick like intro about the Peter.
For sure, man. What's up, guys? Thanks, Ibrahima, for having me on. The TLDR of my whole content creation journey. Went to school for criminology. Didn't really like it. Stayed there for like 5 years up at SFU. And it wasn't until my last semester I was like, what is it that I really want to do, man? And it's like my 12-year-old self always wanted to make like silly YouTube videos and like create a following. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try that. And I worked as a line cook for like the next 5 years. That was hell. And I eventually took a couple clients on the side, and then I was able to land a full-time video gig from my experience making YouTube videos in 20, it's like 2017, 2018. That's where I did reply because I took a break because like entered the 9 to 5 life and worked for a couple digital marketing agencies, some pretty big influencers, and here I am.
So
Content
in terms of
creation.
like so you said you started making videos. So you said you took some clients. You were making videos for clients back then.
So I was a part-time cook like at all the big major chains within our city. And yeah, I remember like, you want to know the backstory of how I got my first client?
Let's do it. So we're here.
So yeah, so like yeah, fun stuff. I worked as a dishwasher as a within like a catering company, and like they were going through this whole like rebranding. We're gonna change our logo, change our like website and everything. And I was like, oh yeah, hey, Mr. Owner, like y'all want a video? Because I do it. And then he's like, oh yeah, Peter, you can do videos. I'm like, yeah, man, I can totally do a video. Like there's no price of like talk of like money. I'm like, I'm gonna do this for y'all. I put together like this little teaser. I remember having my D5200 right here, filmed it, brought it on like after a dishwashing shift, like after we just filmed random things I put together. He's like, wow, Peter, this is really damn good. I'm like, yeah, I just do this for fun. It's like, how about you do our company website video for our Facebook and whatever? And that was my first client. And then he referred me to other people, and he eventually became my first paying client.
Word of mouth. That's all, and that's it's
Yeah,
so funny how you say that because I was a dishwasher at a catering place too.
yeah,
So and I actually did some photos for them when I was in
yeah,
photography. So
yeah,
it's pretty hilarious how like the stories kind of coincide.
yeah.
It's pretty crazy though. Like in terms of like your YouTube journey too. Like how did that start? Like how'd you do that?
Just segue first, dude. People think dishwashing jobs are easy, dude. One of the hardest hustling jobs out there. Like,
Yo,
especially
it's
if you
a
work for like a restaurant, man. That job is hustle, man. It's not
yep.
easy.
Every day is like a mission. Every day is a mission. If you
God,
guys know, like it, and they have to rely on you because
yeah,
you're like if the stuff is not clean, then especially throughout the day, it's
yeah,
ongoing. And
yeah.
oh man, good times, man.
Oh yeah. So how like what you want, like the lowdown of how I started like YouTube in terms of like the
Yeah,
content.
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So back then, I don't remember. It's like 2010 like 11, 12, like YouTube creating content was a lot, it was a lot easier to get views. And I remember posting so I had another channel because a lot of people know that I have like a vlog channel, I have like a camera channel, but my very first YouTube channel, it was about fashion, man. So I had this channel about like I would like do this little, hey guys, I bought this new leather jacket with this hood. I'm gonna unbox it and put it on for you guys and like just walk and see how it looks on me.
And you could have been the first like Alpha M or
Yeah, I
men's
was thinking,
fashion.
damn, I could have just stuck with this. But I started that. I did like a couple videos. Like I actually posted like my first official YouTube video was like this bodybuilding transformation video that I posted on there. So it's like I was just experimenting, throwing up like a bunch of videos. But eventually I started with my Broke the Habit channel and I made a reaction video, right? And back then, when you made a video and you just put in the title of a video that's trending, you would get views like that. It was insane. So I remember it was this video, this viral video of this like little Asian kid tearing down this store. It went viral. It's like I remember the title was like Asian kid destroys dollar store or something. So I just made a reaction video, super cringe, posted on YouTube. Next thing you know, the views just go insane, and that was the first dopamine rush of like me going, holy crap, man! Like people can view my content, and I've been pretty much posting a video almost every other day on that channel for the next 3 to 4 years. I've collaborated with pretty big channels. And my YouTube journey now is very different, where I'm much more focused on creating quality content, even though it's like trying to get away from that whole notion of views and vanity metric and no one is watching. Like for me now, I still get stoked if a video gets 100 views. I'm like, hell yeah, man. Because I'm like 100 people in a room took their time out of their day to stop whatever the hell they're doing to watch my videos. I'm like, I'm stoked. And as well as I have another channel that's more on the business side, where it's more like focusing on the views. I have like 100,000 unique visitors on that channel, and I took the skills that I've learned from Broke the Habit onto that channel. And I also help people launch their YouTube channels and all that fun stuff. So yeah.
And how has your like YouTube journey evolved since the beginning? Not at what 10, so 11 years now, man.
God damn, like a long time, man. If Yeah, I think it's overall with me as a person. Like growing up, I can look back if I do get to die of old age, like I can look back like, oh yeah, I remember who that Peter was when he was like 23, young and eager. In terms of how I've evolved, I think everything in terms of like my editing, like I've definitely got a lot better of like storytelling and understanding content, and also being able to work with huge influencers. I can't say who, but I'm not full of crap. You know, there's a lot of people there's a lot of people on the internet who say they work for people, but I've worked for like pretty big channels, 500,000 subscribers, a million. And I get to see everything like what it takes from a business perspective, like working behind the scenes. Some people, like you think people like you mentioned Alpha M, like it's not him. He has a team of probably like 10, 12 people of like managing all his stuff and like editing his content, filming his content for him. And he just talks and he's like the business head of it. And I've able to see, position myself as more of like a content strategist now than more than a YouTuber. So that's how
Crazy.
I've evolved. Yeah.
Crazy. And I know that you're like I watch your videos, and your videos have a very unique like sense to them. Like it's very like you're telling a story, but at the same time too is like there's different scenes as well. You kind of document like your experience and then what you're currently
Mhm.
going through. So I know that you made another video, not the one that you did before, the not the
Mhm.
dating video they made, but there's another one you made about
Mhm.
your experience dating apps. So I no, I just want to get like your approach to the videos that you make, because I always feel like there's a genuine like meaning or purpose to the
Mhm.
video. Like you're trying to maybe explain something, or you're trying
Mhm.
to comprehend maybe an experience that you have.
Mhm.
What's your process for that?
So I recently just make videos where it's like I call them like tombstone videos, where it's like if I'm ever gonna die, man, it's like I want to be able to document this experience and put it into a video format. So in terms of what I was going through, I was going through a really freaking bad breakup, man. It was like really like toxic relationship. I'm like, how do I take this pain and make it into a video format? And how do I make it relatable to other people? Right. So what I do is I usually put down like a Google Doc and I just spit fire about random like head notes of like, okay, what I'm going through the beginning to process, and I start to plan together my my vision of what the video is going to be like in my head before it's already out in like video content.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the fact that you do that, it's interesting. And it's very relatable. And I even seen the
Hmm.
comments that people are like, "Yo, this is awesome. This is like you're sharing your experience, sharing your story." In terms of like mental health, do you like
Hmm.
is that something that you experience for your own self, or because I
Hmm.
mean, for me, I have like anxiety and stuff like that and
Hmm.
depression. But do you have like anything along those lines as well?
Yeah, so that's one thing I've like kind of been cautious about in terms of like mentioning on my own channel, because one of the scary things of like let's say you bring up mental health, like it gives other people permission to judge and
Hmm.
critique and make comments of like, oh, I have depression. So, like you'll have people that mean well or bad and like, oh yeah, you should do this and this and this. So I've kind of like steered away from being on my own channel. I'm pretty open about it in like just day-to-day life, but when it comes to online, I'm kind of hesitant about it. But like I do go through my own mental health issues, like anxiety is through the roof, especially with like pandemic and everything, and I do go through like bouts of like depression. And I've thought about making a video about this on my channel, but it's I think it comes down to like my own readiness to like put myself out there and whether or not how much I want to share. That's the one thing about social media is I get to control how much I want to expose myself out there. And it's always funny because one thing I do realize about putting my parts of my life out there is like people think they have a say into it, or they think from that 5 minute video it's like they know my entire life, but it's like no, I'm the one that's editing it, I'm piecing together, so it's like if anything I'm showing you what I want to see, what you to see my video, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree with that because even for me, I filter out certain parts as well. Like I will like I think I'll add you to my close friends on IG. I do have like some more like legitimate stuff on there on my close friends
Yeah.
on IG, but it's this thing of like filtering out like okay what like I for me I say it because I'm like someone who's like when I try to come across I just try to say hey this is that it but I'm staying positive. This is how I do it. It's my daily thing. I share my meditation. I share how
Hmm.
I kind of handle it. But to be vulnerable about it is it's very very tough. So I 100% resonate with that. And it's one of those things where it is a very sensitive topic. There's YouTubers out here that are like that cry and that it can get very very personal. So
Hmm.
I think what do you for you like what in terms of like your content because you've been very authentic. You're very authentic with
Hmm.
your
I
content. Like
appreciate it.
and you're in your podcast you're talking about how you changed that like
Hmm.
how have you found like how have you felt since creating like authentic content like content that's 100% like you how have you
Hmm.
felt since then.
For me, so what happened was I was making very clickbaity videos just for the sake of getting views, and it attracted like the wrong people, man. Like I've got views, but it's not the right people, and that's one thing like you learn. Like even on your channel, like I've checked out where you have like your most popular videos are like the beard videos, but it's like you're attracting all those beard people, and then it's like, is that the type of audience that you want? That's the thing that I came across one of my biggest challenges within my channel. It's like I was making all these dating videos, but I'm like, do I want all these like most of the time it's like 30, 40-year-old Asian guys that are like a lot older. I'm like, this is not the right people. So what I've learned over time is like you are what you attract. It's very meta, but it's like I apply that to everything now, especially content. And wait, sorry, what was the question? I just got segued.
Oh like how have you 'cause, yeah but basically you went through you
Yeah,
said that you're making content
yeah.
that we didn't really resonate with you.
Right,
You
right,
said you're
right.
making dating
So
videos.
yeah, so like making content that appeals more to me, and if I can spread my message out there. And one thing I'm trying to learn is to separate like vanity metrics away from my own personal my own thing. Like I talked about in my own podcast. If you haven't checked that out yet, link in the description. Um, is that I want to be I want to make content and post content that I want to be remembered for, not because it gets likes and views, right? Because there's so many YouTubers out there. Some people, horrible things happen, or like their channel just gets deleted. You never know what's gonna happen, and I want to be able to put my most authentic foot forward.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and that's part of the reason why even me, I shifted my content, right? And going back to 2017 when I was doing photography and everything just felt wrong, even though everything looked right in the sun
Hmm.
surface. Changing the content really fulfilled me a lot. Like now, even when I release a video, like when I see a comment, a genuine comment, I'm like, yo, this is dope because it's like something that I actually put my heart into, and I feel like you do that as well. And in terms of your content too, I noticed that you've done you do some fitness too, right? Like I've seen you do some runs in your videos. I think I've seen you done like some boxing. Like it has fitness. I guess because now you guys know I'm really into fitness. Like, are you also like into fitness? Like, what kind of things do you do?
Hmm. So I've never been like a gym rat, but like definitely mental health and fitness go hand in hand. And I definitely it's if I feel like if I days I don't work out or like do anything, I feel like just not good. So what because of the pandemic and how we're all in lockdown, I started to pick up things that I wouldn't have picked up before. So I'm running not that much. Like I'm more of a sprinter, but I'm getting into like lifting weights again, as well as just like boxing and skipping rope. So I wouldn't
Bro,
consider I wouldn't consider myself like a expert. I'm just like a hobbyist. Like do things that I enjoy. It makes me happy.
you seem pretty fit though, because every time I see the videos, like I see your story, like you're boxing.
Yeah,
I saw you jump rope, and then we talked about that. I was like, yo, you the way you jump rope was dope, because most
yeah,
people aren't, they're not coordinated, so they
yeah,
can't jump rope properly.
yeah.
You did pretty well, man.
I'm like my own worst critic. I'm like the
Like,
toughest thing. I'm like, yeah, but I gotta be better. I gotta be like Floyd Mayweather with how he skips rope.
I'm like that.
Yeah.
It is like that too. But what about you, man? Like, what's because I do you use IG? Like, do
Uh,
you post on IG?
Not as often,
Are you like a
but it.
YouTube? Are you like Mr. Beast, where you focus like YouTube's like your main thing? Like,
So when it comes to social media platforms, like I post just for like I use IG as like my own like personal dear diary that I want to post out to the world that people can see. But YouTube is my main thing, and what I've also been experimenting is with TikTok as well.
so you make videos on TikTok?
I so what I've experimenting with recently is taking my own podcast snippets and put it onto TikTok, and I'm just experimenting on how it does. And it's pretty amazing how I only have like 40 followers, and like a video can still get 100 organic views. Like that's better than YouTube. So there's definitely potential that I see on TikTok.
What's
So
your
that's what I'm
TikTok?
focusing. Same handle.
Habit broke the habit.
Yep. Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, no, TikTok's a good platform too. Like, I was doing the same thing, but
Yep.
dude, when you start to get to too many platforms, it's
Yep.
a bit annoying.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, yeah, I get Clubhouse and all the hype, but I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
stick to YouTube, TikTok, IG. Like you pick your main three, and like
Yeah, you
that's
pick your
pretty
main
much
three,
it.
and it's funny that you
Yeah.
say that too, because I have people like saying like, "Oh, get into crypto, get into this," and I'm like, I don't have the energy right now,
Yeah.
like NFTs and this. I'm like, oh,
You have to do what's best for you.
exactly, and it's like, oh my god, like right now I'm focused on IG, YouTube,
Yeah.
and I'm like everything
Mhm.
else is like, ugh, I don't know. So you freelance then?
Right now in terms, yep, I am.
Okay, so how's that? How's that for you?
Oh man, it's freaking tough. But I do have a YouTube video on that of like what happened. But yeah, I'm grateful to have like couple of clients under my belt, as well as like turning my own secondary channel into like a business approach to it. So I'm lucky for that.
Funny that you say that. I think I don't know, it was the first time we talked, but
Yeah.
the way you had your video, your channel, I kind of got inspired by that. So that's why I have a fitness. Well, I haven't really started a fitness YouTube channel yet, but
Yeah.
I have the fitness YouTube channel, more the business channel, and then I
Yeah.
have the channel, my own personal channel, which is
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
I experiences. I mean, when did you start the other channel?
I initially started that one with my camera gear and all that stuff. As more of like a demo reel. I just uploaded it so I can be like, hey guys, this is what I've edited for my clients before. And I'm like, how about I start focusing more along the lines of like my views and my SEO skills and all that on this channel, and then I can slowly take that energy and put my own creative juices and all that to my Broke the Habit channel. So it's like it's a clear line of like having my confidence and vanity metrics away from my own channel, and put that towards like the camera channel where it's very black and white. I don't talk about my emotions and all that stuff. I just talk about, hey guys, this is the best budget camera XYZ. So it's like if people like there's trolls and stuff, they're like I don't really care, right? It's like it's very different where it's like I feel like it's given me more of like a mental clarity to have two separate channels where one is I can talk about specifically it's like I have a trajectory of like okay I'm gonna keep growing this channel, talk about camera gears XYZ, and my other channel I can talk about all my touchy feelies and all that stuff.
Touchy feelies. I mean, hey,
Yeah,
it's the videos resonate, and again, like I would do watch the videos that you do make, and I
yeah,
just like the way I even like the podcast style that you have.
yeah,
You transitioned, right? Like you kind
yeah.
of gone through like it was more like it kind of similar to like Matt Diavella or kind of that kind of style, and you kind of transitioned to podcast style. Is there a reason why, or you just evolution?
Time. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
works
it's
too.
like I can put together like a Matt Davila type of like there are a couple of channels out there that do that, but I'm like, man, the amount of time that gets put into that one video, I can make like 10 podcasts, right? And I'm
Yeah,
with podcast format, I'm able to like clearly think out and talk out whatever I'm trying to say versus like a 10-minute cinematic video, which is cool. I might throw those in once in a while just to like be like, yeah, I like your boy still got it. But podcast format is much more. I think that's what the future is. Like in terms of like long form content. I don't know about your perspectives, but when it comes to like YouTube, I feel like long form is here to stay.
Clubhouse is out here, so they're making moves, man. But how do you stay consistent then? Like, because I know you're very consistent, and I noticed the one thing you also do is you schedule them and you
Hmm.
release them at midnight.
Hmm.
Is there a science behind that, or what's the tea here? Because I've been seeing this for the last like few months, and I'm like, why does he do that? It's interesting.
It's one is just habit. It's just I've been doing it for like 5 years, and I've always done it
Broke the
at
habit.
yeah. I've always done it at midnight on both my channels. But one idea behind it is like no, like people who wake up the next morning, they're gonna see that video. So that's my thought process. Not so much there isn't any science. Like it doesn't really matter when you upload it in terms of YouTube. If you want to put on my YouTube strategist brain, it's like it's not so much the time or day. It's more so about getting like the click through rate.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I mean, I was seeing that for a while, and I was like, oh, interesting. And I guess it does make sense because people do wake up in the morning. Like, I
Hmm.
usually schedule mine at like 6 p.m. or
Hmm.
what's the other one? In the mornings, in the Sunday
Hmm.
mornings, because kind of looking at it. And I always find that people watch a little bit after for me. I don't know
Hmm.
why, but they just did like after.
Hmm.
But also, actually, I wanted to touch up on something because this is actually something I've been wondering about. Okay, because in your channel, you do mention a lot about breakup, right?
Yeah.
So when was this? Like, it was 2 years ago?
Oh man. Exactly 1 year ago.
Wow, so it's still
Yeah.
fresh. Yeah,
Uh, it's a pretty it's healed into a nice scab now.
that's good. That's good. Hey,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. And you know, I guess the first question I want to ask is how did you obviously we already know how you felt. Like I think anyone who's gone through it knows how you feel, but how was
Garbage.
it? Yeah, exactly. Garbage and this and that, trash.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to know your come up because
Hmm.
a lot of people go through like certain circumstances and setbacks, but what really makes it is the come up, right? So
Hmm.
how was your journey in terms of like breakup and then
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So just to do a shameless plug again, I do have a video on it. But yeah, man, after that initial breakup, it was like my first like when you fall in love, like I'd say this like is the first my first true love. And it was tough. Like there was like a lot of like loneliness. And then I don't know if it's coincided, but I've also like out of that I like a lot of health complications came after that. And it was a tough time because literally after that breakup, COVID happened. So the whole city just went on lockdown. I'm like, wow, this is the worst feeling ever. And it made me really look into myself and sit with my feelings of like loneliness and like self-worth. Like, am I not good enough? Because like I put in all this effort into this relationship. And a lot of people don't know, but my channel stopped because yes, because of work, but also this relationship as well. Just trying to like just trying to keep it alive, man. And looking back in hindsight, the relationship was pretty toxic. Like it wasn't meant to be, but I'm glad it happened. It was meant to happen, and it I grew a lot from it. Like I pretty much like looked a lot of self like introspection, like a lot of journaling, like things like I picked up running. Like I didn't really invest into myself until like after this relationship.
You feel naive while you're in the relationship?
Yeah, it's kind of like that whole like lovebirds, like we're gonna make it happen. We're fight till the end because I've always been a fighter, right? It's like we're gonna make this work. We're gonna like fight to make this. But then
I'm the
like
same
now
way,
looking,
so I get it.
yeah, yeah. So like, but like now I'm like, wow, maybe she was right, and it's kind of bittersweet that like you pretty much like lose your best friend. But it's if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here right today as the person that you see.
Yeah. And I guess another thing is, do you have like any tips for anyone in terms, because you just said you're a fighter, right?
Yeah,
And I have that, I also have that mindset as well. And that's kind of
yeah.
how I approach things. Do you have any advice for anyone who, who might be in the dumps right now, might be
Mhm.
like going through this, like this obstacle? It could not just a breakup, but just anything. Like, do you have like any advice for any of those people?
Uh, so I'm just gonna preface that I'm not a therapist, and if you seek medical help, please do. Like, Google is your friend. But in terms of breakups, first thing is no contact. Like, you want to like not message them because the first thing your brain is gonna want to like stalk them, right? You're like, oh, what's she up to? Oh, did already get replaced that quick? X Y Z. Just no contact at all. That person is out of your life. And if someone's going through the dumps, I think social media detoxing that we talked about in my podcast, like getting away from that feeling of like FOMO and really be able to like sit with that feeling. Cause like I forgot who that was. It was like I forgot his name, but he's like an addiction specialist. But like social media girls, guys, however you swing, and like whatever substances, like that is the solution, right? And what you're using, you need to sit down and figure out what's the problem. So it's like if it's social media addiction that you have, like what's the problem that you're making you go towards social media. So be able to like shut things away and like maybe like journaling and writing down like what is it that you want in your life. Is it you feeling down in the dumps? Is it because you're not listening to your like your inner who like people have different ways of saying it, but I like to say like my energy, right? So maybe it's like a relationship that's like draining you, like that like you're feeling down, but like it's your gut telling you, it's your intuition that's like this is the right person. And it's like the same with like jobs, right? Like why do you feel like crap when you wake up every day? It's because you're not doing the job that you're meant to do, or like this is the job that fulfills you, right? It's like being able to listen down in your gut and feeling like what is it that your gut listens to, because it's kind of cliche, but it's like we all know what we really want. We just kind of learn as we grow older. We learn to like suppress that feeling, and you don't really like you forget to listen to like your inner child. That's what they call it in like counseling or therapy, like listening to your inner child and listening to your own gut. Because like with social media, there's so many like people spewing things like you should do this, you should join this mastermind, you should buy this book, you should do this and that, but they don't know you, and like only know you know yourself. And I also like saw like this TikTok of like Will Smith. I don't know if you saw this, but it's like so many people will tell you life advice, but it's like so many people don't also know themselves, right? So if you don't know yourself, how the hell are you gonna give advice on other people? Like only you know yourself. So it's a lot of like just sitting down with yourself and you're facing those scary demons of like asking what is it that you really want in life.
I love that.
Yeah.
You
I
went through
get, I
some.
get, I get, I get hyped, man. I get because like it took me a while to figure out like why do I feel like crap, and like why is it that I constantly like feel like my energy is being like drained, and it's like because I'm not listening to my gut, right? You want to do things that raise up your frequency, your vibration in the world, right? I know it's like hippie woo woo, but it's like you want to do things. You want to do things that excite you. Like it's like going to the whole notion of like I don't want to show up 8 a.m. to this lecture about like history or whatever because it doesn't bring me happiness. And the more I force myself to do something that's against my gut, that the more crappier that I'm gonna feel.
Yeah, just kind of touch up on what you said there. I think it's very, very important, especially to take that time for yourself, because even for myself, again, that's why I take social media detoxes. That's something that helps me. But
Mhm.
everyone has something different, right? I've been meditating, I pray, I do things like that. But finding that time for yourself and also knowing yourself, if you depend on someone else, or you find that you're not happy with yourself, then when you get into whatever relationship, marriage, whatever it may be, you're not gonna find that happiness. It's gonna be very hard to find that. So not knowing who you are, and everyone online can give you tips, they can tell you what to do, they can be like, you need to do this, you need to do that. But at the end of the day, you yourself know, right? Like someone, like when I was younger, like not that young, but like when I was like 20, uh, people are like, "Oh, you should do trades. You should be an engineer. You should be an electrician. Do this." Everyone was saying that because on the outside picture, it seemed like the ideal thing. Like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna make good money. You're gonna have a trade. You're gonna have assistant." But in my head, I was like, "No, no." I knew that if had I done that, yeah, people would have been great. To see, oh, this is cool, but it wouldn't have even worked out. Like I probably would be like struggling because I wouldn't be passionate about it. I wouldn't even care about it, right? So I like that point that you made. Just kind of knowing yourself, and that's where I think
Mhm.
knowing yourself. Like I'm in fitness right now, but for me, it's like I enjoy fitness. I've been in fitness for a while. It's something I've just been passionate about, so that's why I kind of delve into that space. But again, it's like knowing yourself, trying new things, and just kind of experimenting. So
Mhm.
I really like that you shared that. And another thing I actually want to know about you is like it's just like your approach to life and like your
Mhm.
philosophies.
Mhm.
Like how what's your thought process? Like how do you
Mhm.
approach life? How do you approach the day to day?
Mhm. So just to backtrack, what you said made me really come up with like when people give you life advice. One of the things that really irked me back then, because like I was super introverted and I didn't really know who I was back then, is that you need to when people give you life advice, you need to understand that people are only doing like people only know what they know, and they're telling you like what's best, not necessary for your intentions but their perspective. So they're only telling you what's best for them, and not it's not necessarily you. So it comes down to like sitting down with yourself. So you're gonna whop me in the head with a what's my life perspective. That's a big one, man. But
I
I'm just
asked you
trying to
deep
figure out.
questions.
I'm just trying to I'm just trying
I'm
to
a,
figure out like everybody else. Like one thing I realized is that when you're like in high school, like you think, oh wow, man, once I'm 25, I'm gonna have my life figured out. But like, sorry, that's not how it works. And you realize like you go through this trajectory of like each problem you get older, you handle like a different obstacle and different challenge. And my life, wait, what's it? You want to know my life outlook?
yeah, I'm a deep guy, man. I
God,
do want to know like your approach to like your day to day
yeah.
and how because
Okay.
I'll share mine. Like I wake
Yeah.
up, okay.
Yeah.
So things I do is I'm
Yeah.
really big on meditation,
Mhm.
prayer. I'm very big on breathing, staying calm. My interactions with people, I try to be myself, but at the same time too, I'm just trying to be myself, and I try to be like as friendly as possible. Fitness is a big thing I value as well. Authenticity is like the biggest thing, but
Mhm.
that's kind of like my philosophy on things. Like, and I always like to take things in moderation. Like, I don't go through two extremes, and I also like to listen to different perspectives as well.
Mhm.
That's kind of like I guess,
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah.
Uh, I would say just there isn't like a right or wrong. My outlook on life is I just take it one day at a time, because I'm
Love it.
to be like fully transparent. Like I'm still not 100% healed from like my health complications, all that. I'm just taking it like one day, 1 month at a time, and understanding like no one ever has it completely figured out. Like it's easy to go on social media and see all these people, and they're like, oh, they have all the Lamborghinis and this and this stuff, but like that's all the front. You don't know what problems they have or what they're going through behind the scenes, and just do you, boo.
And
that's
just do you, bro.
that's my life. Just do you. Do what's best for you.
I love
For,
that, and you would
Forget
know
everything
because
else. Yeah.
you worked with the fake guru.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You can watch that video. It's pretty interesting. You like talking to one of your old coworkers, and you
Yeah.
guys are kind of
Yeah.
talking about that.
Yeah.
That was a pretty interesting video. But yeah, that's actually really really cool. I mean, do you travel?
Uh during COVID, but I wish. So one of my things is I really want to get back to my homeland. I think that's like I think we connected on. I think when I first talked to you, jumped on a call. But like, for me, I'm half Chinese, half Vietnamese, and I definitely want to spend like an extended amount of time back in Vietnam, seeing when this pandemic like eases out. Maybe next year I'll be there for a couple of months just to see how it is. So I definitely want to travel there.
Yeah, yeah. I think I remember like your first videos. I think it was a lot of it was like I think you were talking a lot about I can't remember, but you were talking a lot about something with Asians. That's all I can remember.
Yeah.
What were they? I can't remember. God, what was it? I can't remember what it was. Like with your first videos, and I think when I reached out to you, it was like a lot of it. Did you travel? Did you make travel vlogs?
I was in my homeland for a bit, for like a
Okay.
month or two. So I did make videos. So you might have stumbled across those.
I think I might have stumbled across those. Yeah, something like that. And you're also throwing out a lot of Asian stereotypes too. I think. Were you? Yeah.
Uh, yes. Like I think one of the downfalls of my channel is like I try to stand up for all Asians and like what's going on in the world. But I'm like, dude, that's a big pill to swallow, and I didn't want to be like the face of that.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah, I'm Muslim, so sometimes like for me to take that step and do that, like
Yeah.
that'd be a little hectic for me, especially with the
Yeah.
community too. But yeah, man, like
Shout outs to Fusi too.
yeah, shout out to Fusi. Yeah, he's actually doing well. Okay, now he has his
Yeah.
podcast. I think he has his channel. Yeah, yeah, he's doing good. He's doing good.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot better. I mean, at that time, you were definitely you were creating content at that time too, right? I think.
Mhm, mhm. I've I've
Um,
I've I've been watching him. Like I remember, like what one of the grinds when I first started the whole YouTube thing is like I remember his videos like kept me through just going to the next day, just getting hyped when he did like his vlogs and stuff. But so, I'm watching him when he first started.
yeah. Do you have like any YouTubers that you looked up to while going through a journey or?
Yeah, there are some. I'd say like Fusi was one of them, but there's a couple other ones that don't really pop top of my head. There is the whole Just Kidding crew. It's like Just Kidding
Oh
Films
yeah, just
news,
kidding. Films. Yeah.
those guys. But the big one that inspired me is like Gary V.
Gary
That
V.
kid
Gary V.
suckered me
Gary.
into everything. I have all of his books, bro.
Oh
All his
damn.
books.
Did you go to his conference when he came in 20? I think it's 2016.
No, no, I did not.
Oh damn. That was an interesting one. He's like I don't know if he's ever gonna come back though because it
Hmm.
seems like he doesn't go. He doesn't even obviously COVID, but pre-COVID too. Like he wasn't really traveling as much. He kind of stays in his like studio and then he
Hmm.
just like does his thing and then people
Yeah,
come to him. Apparently he charges like 10 grand or something like that for people.
yeah. Dude, I was supposed to be on his ass. What's this? His tea with Gary V. But like, it keeps getting canceled. But I am on the wait list. You
Oh,
will
like
see me.
oh, like the tea with Gary Vee. Oh, like the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
that he does the videos with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I'm like,
oh
I'm supposed
damn.
to like pop a question, but his team is so cool because like he has his I forgot his name. I think his name is Zane. He's like the dopest dude ever, and he's like he keeps up contact with me, so that's how much he invests in his own community manager.
Damn. And like,
Yeah,
how do you do that? You just have to apply online. They just
like
reach out.
so you have to jump onto his text platform, right? So
Oh, I see.
you
The
exchange your
funnel.
number. Yeah, you exchange your number to contact that, and it's like yes, you get spammed, but I'm able to like have the opportunity to maybe potentially talk with Gary, right?
Yeah.
That's like a ten
Yes.
grand value exchange.
Big time. Big time. I
Yeah,
mean, I would say Clubhouse, but Gary's so big that it's very hard to talk to him on Clubhouse. So
yeah,
yeah, that's a given. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I wanted to really ask about. Like honestly, a lot of the things I wanted to ask about, like relationship, because I know you mentioned that a lot in your channel. Like
yeah,
you mentioned it a
yeah.
lot, so I kind of wanted to touch up on that a little bit. Any like words that you like to share to the audience?
Hmm.
Oh, anything.
Um, so on the topic of relationships, what I've learned the biggest thing is like it all stems from your childhood and your inner trauma, what how you were raised as a kid, and everything that you experience as a kid is reflected into your adult life. And if you don't process that and understand that, then certain things are going to keep happening. So that's one thing I really looked into, like self growth, and it comes into like self introspection and all that.
That's crazy. That's actually
Yeah,
a really good perspective because
yeah,
there's a book. It's over there. I forgot what the name. I forget what the name of the book is. Kind of goes to like why. you may love a certain way, or why
Yeah.
you have a certain detach. I think it's called attachment, right?
Yeah.
Why you have a certain
Comes from your
attachment.
parents,
Yeah,
or like your first quote unquote love, and
yeah,
that can either mess you up for the and you're trying to undo that, or you had a like a solid attachment and then you grow up fine, and it's like you learn that you understand, the more you understand yourself, the more you understand different humans. So it's like,
hmm,
oh, if I have like a anxious avoidant attachment style, and she or he has a this type of attachment style, then it's like we can somehow work around that or understand each other more.
yeah. And actually, I actually wanted to ask you that because like this, I guess this was the last question.
Hmm.
How are you feeling now in terms of a relationship? I know you mentioned your channel.
Yeah.
Check out his channel, by the way, and check out his
Yeah.
video. But how are you feeling now? Do you feel like, because I know you said like, you're taking a break from the apps, and
Yeah.
you said that on your
Yeah.
on the podcast. But how are you feeling in terms of like yourself and relationship? But do you feel like
Hmm.
you're ready, or you feel like you want to take some time still?
Hmm. One thing I've learned from being on all the apps is like I'm very aware of who I look for in a partner, like specific characteristics, and what are my instant like turnoffs. Um, I would say for once in my life, I think with the pandemic and everything, like I'm completely okay with being single, and I see myself, if I'm single for the next year, like I'm completely okay with that and like working on myself. But at the same time, if the right person comes, like I'm open, but I'm not so much putting all my eggs into finding the right person. Like, because I think there's like this other book where it's like it's called like finding the one or calling in the one, and like the end of the book is like you've always been the one. It's you. You are the one.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, and that's actually really interesting. It's an interesting topic because this is something I think about as well.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm a single guy, so obviously I try to learn more about this stuff, and obviously I'd love to be married with someone, of course. But
Hmm.
I think it's really really cool to hear your perspective, and that's why I tuned into the like especially those videos, and
Yeah.
especially the recent one that you did. I was just listening, tuning in, listening to the whole thing, and it was very interesting because I went through like a kind of similar journey
Hmm.
like 2 3 years back. Fitness actually kind of helped me with that. Like fitness actually helped me get through it,
Hmm.
like a lot of it. But it's interesting to hear like someone else's perspective, and everything that you're saying. I was like, yeah, I know, I get it, I get it. And the last thing that you said too, one of the things you said in the video is, do you still love her, right? And
Hmm.
then you said, I don't necessarily love her, but I still care for her, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's something that's very very important. Either you get off something with someone or whatever it may be, even if you don't like that that relationship stuff, all the love is not there anymore. At least like care for that person and just be like, hey, I hope they're doing okay. And I think that's the key to like a healthy relationship or healthy ending. So I want to applaud you on that because that's like something that actually really hit me when you made the video.
Hmm.
Yeah, with that being said, I think I'm gonna conclude it here. I appreciate you for being on the podcast. This is
For
dope.
sure.
We just shot another one on his channel, so definitely check it out. And yeah, we'll kind of go from there. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we will talk to you in a future video. Don't forget to stay authentic, guys. Peace.